Hey everybody, please say hi, tell me where you're from. It's been a little while, but I wanted to check in after the People's Convergence Conference. And so if you give me a minute, I will want to share this out a little bit, and if you'd help me also share this out, that would be fantastic. Hey everyone, I'm just giving it one more second to get people, and I'm trying to share it out a little bit. If you can help me share also, that would be fantastic. How is everybody? Tell me where you are, how you are doing. I just got back from DC late last night, so I'm a little tired, but I didn't want to wait any longer to tell you how the People's Convergence Conference went and give you, major information on what happened, it was amazing actually. So I'm just going to share this out for like a minute, and if you would help me share, that would be great. I think we have, amazing news, news for the progressive movement, and I'm still very much processing what happened this weekend, and so you'll have to forgive me for my my stream of thoughts. So I'll just start. I just got back from Washington, D.C. last night. It was an amazing event. If I'm just give you a brief rundown of the history of PIP, I won't take too much of your time on that aspect. But in March of 2016, I wrote a petition asking Bernie Sanders, Dr. Jill Stein, Shama Sawant of Socialist Alternative, Democratic Socialists of America, and the Progressive Democrats of America to join into one progressive independent party, and it kind of went viral, and we launched. In April of 2006, about a month later, Shama Sawant, the Seattle social woman, badass out of Seattle, I love her, she wrote a petition asking Bernie Sanders to follow through, if you to run as an independent and follow up, I believe, under a new party, and she got almost 100,000 signatures or more. Now, as you move forward, PIP decided to be a co-founder of Occupy Inauguration, which was a coalition action, and this was in part our effort to build this coalition necessary to build a new party for the people in this country. It was an amazing event, but I learned a great deal about coalition building, relationships, and trust within the movement. And, our PIP's concept is a coalition-based party, which is a lot like the Broad Front parties that you've seen in Latin America, the Broad Front Party of Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile, Peru, where the fractions come together under a Broad Front party, a new party, where everyone could keep their identities within, but share resources and time and talent, and come together for the shared purpose of representing the people's values. And it's been a hard it's been hard to get our message across because we're not trying to become a singular party. If we thought we could become a singular new party all by ourselves, well, the Green Party could have done it maybe. So our path has been a little bit different, as we weren't trying to get necessarily ballot access, or we have of course endorsed candidates, but our goal was not to become a singular party, because we don't have 4 decades to do that. So most of the time of PIP has been getting members, volunteers, spreading our message of a unified front, building relationships, joining actions, building campaigns around our three pillars, which is independent media, action building or movement building, electoral power, coalition building. So the day after Occupy inauguration, we hosted the first Progressive Unity Summit, which was an amazing small event in a bar. It was in a bar in D.C. We got Ralph Nader and Nick Brown on the Justice Party and members of SA and Lee Camp and Steve Grumbine. It was an amazing event. We had 3 panels based on those 3 pillars: independent media, action building, and electoral power for the people. Fast forward, this evolved into the People's Convergence Conference, which was this weekend. We moved our event. We were supposed to have it in Seattle. We moved it over to DC. We changed the date. We rebranded it even to come together with the Draft Bernie for People's Party and Socialist Alternative, to do this as a combined co-hosted event with the Justice Party as a sponsor. We had an amazing lineup. We had multiple strategies and concepts and things happening at the same time. We had a live Jimmy Dore show. We had Tim Black there. We had an independent media panel, a panel about how to fight racism in the era of Trump. We had outside strategy panels. I mean, really, it was hard to choose, and I was running around crazy as a moderator and co-host, and also sometimes as a speaker on the panels. But what not everybody knows is PIP held a closed-door meeting during dinner on Saturday, and it had the leaders of the movement in this meeting. And during that meeting, I said, as I have always said, that I'm just an average American, a single mom, 100% volunteer, and I've come here and I've done this to ask the leaders of our movement to unite for the people and be the leaders we need them to be. I want to say for certain that a Socialist Alternative did not have a representative there because Shama Sawant was preparing to be on the Draft Bernie Town Hall that was immediately following. So we will be meeting with Socialist Alternative, but I feel confident that they will want to be involved in this plan. So during this meeting, I asked them what we can do to unify, to come together, and it was an amazing conversation, and it had to be a little closed door because, everyone needed to speak openly and honestly about where our organizations stand, where our country stands, where our planet is, and be honest and have a little bit of a heartfelt conversation. Dr. Jill Stein was in the room, Nick Brana, Brian Jones of the Justice Party, etc. And, that's neither here nor there. But I'm happy to tell you that everybody in the room, without any hesitation, said, yes, we need to work together. And I have goosebumps telling you that. Because a lot has changed since we wrote the first petition, or the second, or Nick's last petition. In a big way, we put aside the hope this weekend that Bernie Sanders was going to join us anytime soon. PIP, after the DNC, my co-founders and my founding members encouraged us to drop Bernie Sanders' name from our name. We were originally the Progressive Independent Party, the honorary Bernie Sanders Party. But we knew we had to stand on our own 2 feet. That no matter what Bernie did, we had to move forward. And he told us that's what we had to do. So since the DNC, we've seen people dem exit, we've seen people dem enter, we've seen inside strategies, we've seen of course, the brand new Congress launched about the same time as PIP, we've seen Our Revolution launch, we've seen the Justice Democrats. We've seen a whole flow of ideas and strategies, and PIP was just one of them. Draft Bernie was one of them. And as we've moved forward with the DNC lawsuit and everything that has been revealed to us, that we cannot get a fair Democratic primary in the Democratic Party. And I hope that the Dem-Enter strategists will stop lying to those who are following them. Maybe not lying, but we all need to come to terms with the fact that the Democratic Party cannot be a vehicle for democratic processes. The kind of processes that will allow all the people to speak, for all the people to be represented, which is what we need to move toward. We're all coming together more towards a people's representation. Hopefully, most people. Hopefully, most the 99%. So, I wanted you to know, because we have gone a long way together and we haven't had many wins. And the road ahead of us probably may be more difficult than easy. I'm not going to say that we don't have harder challenges ahead than we've had behind. Because once you're conscious of what's happening, when you're conscious of the mass media corporatist propaganda, when you begin to realize that our votes don't count, that our civil rights have been stolen from us, that 9/11 was used to, the deaths of 9/11 was used to exploited to use for the empire of the United States of America, who has gone and terrorized this world, the planet, our global family, for reasons that aren't just, that aren't in any way supported or completely understood by the American people. When your eyes are open, it becomes a little bit harder because it feels so much bigger. Hi Jason, Brian, Al, hi everybody. Everything feels so much bigger. But that has increased our awareness of how progressives cannot fight against each other. We cannot compete against each other, because when we do so, we will not win. We are not the enemies. And if you follow me on my personal Facebook page, which I'm a little more open in writing commentary, because really when I write my commentary, I only represent myself, you'll know that I don't bash the Green Party. I don't bash SA, I don't bash Jeff Burney, I don't bash my allies. Because what I've learned in coalition building is that everybody brings a piece of the puzzle with them. And you must start in any coalition to honor all the work that has come into the offerings of each organization. You must build trust and respect. And you can't do that by starting with criticism and, harsh critique. And as I said in the last plenary at the People's Convergence Conference, it was the last plenary, and I was sitting right next to Jill Stein and Nick Branna and Charles Douglas and just these amazing people. What I said at the end when we heard some critique about the Green Party is that, as Chris Hedges once wrote, sometimes you are carrying the torch of a movement by yourself in the dark, and you feel isolated, you feel alone. And you pass that torch to the next generation, and maybe the next generation, and maybe you never know how important it was that you maintained your commitment to holding that torch of justice, the torch of rightness, of equity, equality, moral servitude. But those people who've carried that torch in the darkest hours through decades of smears and corporate media propaganda, we must honor their contribution. Because as Chris Hedges said, there comes a moment when the wind picks up just right, and that torch, that little flame, turns into a revolution. My dog agrees. So we begin by honoring the Green Party for their decades of commitment to the independent movement, to not taking corporate money for standing up for environmental justice. PIP's not perfect, SA's not perfect, none of our organizations are perfect. But what we can do together is take back this country. This weekend at the People's Convergence Conference, it wasn't what you might expect. A lot of people cried. I cried twice. I had men come up and tell me that they had cried many times. Women cried. People fought. People yelled. People stood up in anger and yelled and demanded. And we were all vulnerable because we are exhausted. And in our singular efforts to build this movement, we're, I don't know what the word is, we are defeated, or we feel defeated. It was emotional because we have to find an answer. We have to do more than rhetoric. Rhetoric is not acceptable anymore. The people of this country expect leaders to take action. Real action, revolutionary action. As I've said many times, you cannot be revolutionary while being devoted to the customary. This country belongs to the people. This country belongs to you, your family, your children, your grandparents, our ancestors. And yes, we were built on colonization and genocide, but when we come to terms with that, when we accept that, and we heal the trauma, as my beautiful friend Allison Renville taught us this weekend, that when each of us reach inside of ourselves and face the genetic trauma of what our ancestors did to their ancestors, we can heal together. Because we are not yet an American family. We cannot be an American family when not all of us are equal. Yes, all lives matter, but not all lives are equal. So we have this paradigm shift of many things happening all at once. And I told the truth when I was on the plenary, my truth, maybe not anyone else's, that we don't know if we have time to take back this country by traditional methods. We don't know if we have time to take it back by voting at a voting booth, because we don't even know if our votes count. But therein lies the importance of the fact that we stay unified. We must stay unified for whatever might come next. Whether massive climate disasters, whether it's economic disaster, whether it's humanitarian crises or refugees crises, we cannot overcome unless we are together. And I'm not even talking progressives, left, right. I'm talking the people, all the people. We must open the dialogue and our hearts and our communities to be together. Interestingly, if you can find the Donald Trump pledge to America that he ran on, of course we know he's not going to honor his pledge, but if you read the Donald Trump pledge for America, you will find that progressives could agree with 85% of what he ran on. Right? It's shocking. We must stop making assumptions of what other people think. We must stop making assumptions of what they need in their lives or how they want to be represented. We must stop the rhetoric that those folks are our enemies, because we all know the enemy is a fraction of 1% of this country. Those in power that can buy power, that can buy the deregulations for our environment, for our health, for our safety, those who are allowing bombs to be dropped and selling them to Saudi. We are not the country that the people want our country to be. And first we must admit that we've become this empire, this terrorist state with over 800 military bases around the world that keeps increasing military spending even though we really don't have an enemy but like, as we shift this paradigm, we must build structures that are inclusive, that build consensus, that listen to everybody, that make sure everyone's at the table. The marginalized, the disabled, our indigenous brothers and sisters, our black and brown brothers and sisters, our global community. We must listen and provide stewardship for Mother Earth, who provides and sustains us. We must become what we know we are. But as long as the elite exploit us and confuse us and distract us, we never come together to impact the change we need in this country and in this world. And deep inside, I believe that we all miss that. We miss a greater sense of community, a greater sense of accountability between each other. And this is why we all were attracted and wanted to stay at Standing Rock. Because at Standing Rock, we all helped each other. We cooked together, and we did the dishes together. We built together. We spoke together. This technological era has isolated us, which is easy to then cause us to be paranoid and afraid when we talk about Russia or nuclear bombs. It makes us, sorry. Lucy! Lucy, come here. Do you know what happens? My cat, come here. My cat squeezes out the window and then my dogs think it's like a raccoon or something. Come here. Come on. Thank you. Now look at all these guys. There's one. Here's the other. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, I guess I've been just like talking on. There's so much to talk about, but I want you to know that the people in that room at that meeting agreed to move on. We are going to build a unified electoral strategy. We talked about what we can do right now, today, to work together without building a new party, without using new labels, without rebranding, what we can do today. And what we can do today is build an electoral strategy to use all the ballot access we have. The Green Party, the Justice Party, the American Progressive Party. We can use all those ballot accesses together. So, at this point, Pip will be sending a formal letter to the Green Party, to draft Bernie, for People's Party, to Socialist Alternative, to the Justice Party, to delegate 1 or 2 members to be part of the Spokes Council. And with this Spokes Council or coalition, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to make 3 asks. 1, I'm going to ask for a pledge of non-competition for seats. 2, I'm going to ask for there to be a processes for us to endorse the same candidates, all of us, an approval and endorsement process so that all of us will get behind each of our candidates. And what is the third ask? The third ask is, I'm so excited I can almost forget what my plan was. I was thinking all weekend about like, what's my plan? Okay, so I'm going to ask for a pledge to non-compete, a pledge to offer or a process to request to use a ballot line of the coalition members. And the third is, oh my God, I can't believe I don't remember. Sorry, guys. I've been thinking about this all on my way home, and I have three distinct asks. Okay, well, that's ridiculous. I can't remember the second one. But the Green Party is coming along, and the Justice Party and Draft Bernie and PIP, who we've always said would transition, merge, morph in whatever way we needed to morph to give to this movement, to unify I'm channeling Rick Perry, to unify this movement. We are moving forward. This might mean some changes for PIP. Maybe a name change to more represent what it is that we're actually a part of as part of the coalition building process, the running of the coalition, the making sure that voices are heard. And I don't know where this goes, but I definitely know that this weekend was almost historic for the left, for the progressive left. And not only did we develop this electoral coalition, but by the end of the last day, I was able to make an ask for the election integrity folks to come together in a coalition so that they can advise our electoral board on election integrity and come up and work together to fight for state-by-state election integrity and tell us how we can get around what we need to get around. And I've also asked the people who have outside strategies to work together and inform the electoral board and the larger coalition of all the strategies, the best strategies that we can use to force, encourage democratic processes and progressive policies for the people. So I hope you know that we turned a major corner this weekend. And not only that, during the last plenary, Dr. Jill Stein actually did in fact offer the Green Party ballot to the rest of us. So we had much giving, much sharing, much camaraderie, and I'm proud to have been just a small part of it. Nick Branagh's strategy, no matter what people say, the haters, was brilliant. Whatever strategy brings us together outside a corporate, I call it a one-party system, is amazing to me. Everybody has worked extraordinarily hard. The Draft Bernie people have kicked ass. Honestly, they are movers and shakers, and I hope that they keep going because we have so much to do, because we have a zillion people to elect in 2018. And I hope to let you know in the next couple days how you can sign up for this greater coalition to make sure that we can fill these seats. And what I'm envisioning is these spokes councils that represent the orgs, that make sure that there's a consensual process. And I hope that it is, what do you call it? That these can be done, the same model can be done in local levels, right? You go in your state, you can build your electoral spokes council of all your minor organizations and be informed by your election integrity people and your outside strategists, because there's nothing we can't do when we do it together. So I want to thank Dr. Jill Stein, Darryl Mook, the co-chair of the National Green Party, Nick Branagh, Charles Grapsky, our academic scholar, Justice Party, Socialist Alternative, all of our partners, all of our supporters, and I want you to know that we've turned a corner. We are now going to strategize a unified electoral front. This will be a decentralized electoral front that will be strategized to maneuver and pivot the people power to the most impact. And it won't matter which one of us you join, because we're going to be working together. Because we need to put people and planet over brands, over egos, over affiliations, over monetary interest. And I'm really proud of everyone I've worked with that are willing to come with us in this journey, because we are just one piece. Thank you so much for your support. We were going to keep you in the loop and how you and your family and friends and your communities can join this movement to become a people's coalition. And we can do it. I believe we can do it. Have a great day, and we will talk soon.